Hello YouTube, welcome to another one of my Duel Links videos, and today I have for you another Psychic deck. This time we're running Hyper Psychic Blaster and we're running De-Synchro in the main engine, which does give you a lot of really cool combos, and it makes for a really fun playstyle. But for the deck, we did change some things from the last deck, starting with our skill choice. We're running Switcheroo. Two of the duels you're going to see today, I was actually running Bastion with Firm as the Earth, but then I realized that everything I was going up against, whether it be Kawaki or Karakuri or Amazonas, you know, they all run Earth monsters, so I wasn't really getting any advantage from my Bastion skill, so I just went with Switcheroo instead, especially because it kind of works well with Frankenderp, but we'll go over there in a second. So we're still running one Reinforced Human Psychic Borg as a nice tech. 3 Psychic Wielder, you guys should be familiar with this card by now. Really good. 3 are a must in this deck, along with 3 Serene Psychic Witch. This is what you're going to use to get to your combo pieces, whether that's a Wielder, a Frankenderp, a Mental Seeker, or a Psychic Tracker, depending on what else you have in your hand. Still a really good card. Then we have 3 Psychic Trackers, so we can special summon this and go into our synchro place after, you know, we've gotten something off of a Serene Psychic Witch. It's really easy to swarm the board and have 3 monsters, so which is what we need for our boss monster, Hyper Psychic Blaster, and also Mistworm. So Frankenderp is a nice tech in here. It says if this card is normal or special summon, you can pay 500 life points. Look at the top card of your deck, then place it on the bottom of your deck, or reveal it and add it to your hand, but skip your next draw phase if added to the hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. So it's really cool because if you summon this, you know, you get to look at the top card of it. If you summon this off of Psychic Witch, and say you already have a Wielder or a Tracker in hand, you can pay the 500, look at the card that you're about to draw, and if it's the piece that you need, you just add it right then, try to go for game, don't worry about losing your draw phase the next turn. If it's not a card you need, you just put it at the bottom of the deck and don't worry about it. And also, because you're paying the 500 life points, it can help you get into your Switcheroo range. So even if it's not the card you need, you might want to add it just so you can Switcheroo it back and hopefully draw into something better. So I really like this card, but you know, it's kind of gimmicky, so we're only running 1. Especially because we want to special summon it, we want it to stay in the deck, we don't want to see it very often. And that goes also for Mental Seeker. He's our 4th tuner in the deck. When this card is removed from play card is special summon, reveal the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, choose one of those cards and remove them from play, then shuffle the others into the deck. So that's just, I wanted to try this effect. I started with 3 Mental Seeker before I ended with this, build. And the reason why it's not such a good effect is because it only works when special summon after it's been banished. So if you draw into it, it's really bad. When you do get the effect, you know, it's a hit or miss. Like if you banish like an Onslaught, then it's amazing. If you banish like a Maximus or Diamond Core, it's great. I went up against an all trap deck. Well, it wasn't all trap. It's the one that has Walhart and the Tankabito, and I banished a monster that was coming up and they didn't have a monster to play, so I won that game. So in situations like that, it's pretty clutch, but it's still kind of gimmicky at the moment. 2 enemy controllers, super good, especially when you can swarm the board. You always have that potential econ cheese play for game. And 2 De-Synchro. This card, it's really fun to use. So what you want to do with this card, and you know what an explosive combo you can do with this card is you have your Psychic Wielder, and then you have 2 level 3 monsters, right? No matter what they are. So you're gonna go into your Mistworm. Mistworm, when summoned, if this card is synchro summoned, target up to 3 cards in your opponent controls, return those targets to the hand. So you send everything back, then you activate De-Synchro, you summon back your Psychic Tracker, for example, and then your other 2 monsters. So now you can keep your tracker in attack position, synchro with the other 2 monsters into like a level 6, either Nightmare. Actually, Nightmare is my only level 6. I should probably fix that. I didn't realize I was only running 1 level 6. So yeah, you can go into Nightmare, and I guess I never needed to go into a second one, but probably cut Gigantic Castle for a second level 6. Anyway, he's 2400, 1600, that's game. So you can also, you know, go into your Mist Wurm and then into a Hyper Psychic Blaster and inflict pierce damage if you let a monster in defense mode. So it has a lot of uses, and I really like the card overall. You can also, you know, go into with Wither and any other level 3 monster, you go into Nightmare, pop something with Wither, activate this synchro again, pop something with Wither again, just stuff like that. We're running 2 Canada, and then Bad Aim returns to make a cameo appearance in this deck, but you guys are already familiar with those cards. So Mist Wurm is a spicy card. We have Hyper Psychic Blaster, which pierces, and also if this card attacks a defense position monster and that monster defense is lower than this card's attack, so it's piercing, gain life points equal to the surplus. So you can also gain some life after attacking with Hyper Psychic Blaster. I have one Scrap Archune because he's the highest level 7, highest attack level 7, I believe. So if I have a Psychic Borg and a Wither, or if I do an Econ Take play with a level 4 monster from my opponent, I want to have the highest attack I possibly can so that I can still pop a monster. And then Gigantic Castle, again, you know, just another big body, level 9. But because I have both of these, I would probably run it like this. Or maybe a Gaia the Knight, something like that. I don't know why, I totally didn't realize that I was only running 1 level 6. But anyway, so like I said, the first couple of replays are going to be Bastion replays. And you're going to see, I don't think I even popped the field in either of them, because it was matchups that would have benefited from Firm as the Earth. So after I noticed that, I was like, I'll just, you know, run something like Switcheroo instead. And that's where I changed the skill. Going up against Grit. So I was also running Psychokinesis. The deck definitely changed. This guy hates Runade. Guacumare, you guys already know how I feel about that. But he does all this without having a Maximus in hand, which was very surprising. He still has a Guacumare wall, so I'm gonna have to use one of my spells to bait that out. And we're gonna take 2000 damage. So like I said, right here I have my skill, but that's an Earth monster and that's an Earth monster, so completely useless. I don't even activate it. My Psychic Witch is going to get Frankenderp. Frankenderp is going to top deck me into a Psychic Tracker. Actually, yeah, into a Psychic Tracker, and I already had my Will there in hand. So that's when Frankenderp can be very clutch. Flew of Summoning Kribo, so I wasn't able to successfully bait the Guacumare wall. So I'm going to go for this play right here. Mist Wurm, we're going to shuffle back the Kuribo and the wall. I target all 3 of them, but I'm gonna use Wither to destroy the Urnite. We got 2 back row hitting for 3100. So we know that's gonna be a Kribo. Unfortunately, I'm not drawing because of my Frankenderp effect. Guacumare Ice is gonna be met with my Canadia immediately. We get a Psychic Witch, Activator skill, just because, you know, I knew the game was pretty much won at this point. So yeah, as you can see, the deck didn't make a huge difference. Switcheroo would have been a little bit better in that situation, though I was able to get to all of my combo pieces. And here we're going up against Crowler. Ancient Gears is another deck that I completely forgot about. All Earth monsters, another deck where my skill is completely dead. But you know, sometimes people ask, like, why not try this? So, if you're curious, that's why. Oh, this is that matchup that I was talking about. So, Axe of Despair and Power of the Guardians. We're gonna go ahead and set our Serene Psychic Witch. I didn't feel any sort of delay here, so I knew that's more than likely this was like a Battle Step card or Treacherous. Mental Seeker is gonna reveal 2 spells and 1 monster. We're gonna bench the monster, so that's 1 less monster in a deck with only 6. We're gonna use Frankenderp. I didn't like what was at the top of my deck, so I just put it at the bottom. Going to Mist Wurm. Send the monster and the trap back. Go for De-Synchro. Synchro summon again into Psychic Nightmare, leaving my Psychic Tracker on the board for the 1600 that I need just to have that lethal. And, you know, just for confirmation right there, I used my Psychic Nightmare's effect. I missed, but we got to see the Wall of Disruption, which is what we sent back with Mistworm. Alright, so now we're jumping into the Bandit Keith duels. Going up against Yusei. Sorry for the late video, by the way. I was running errands all morning morning day with my wife. Still trying to get a reasonable quote for that AC. So just now I was able to record this. Probably like an hour before I released this. Alright, so we're going up against Koakimeru. He said a Diamond Core, the animal. We're gonna Canadia the Urnite. He didn't Diamond Core. I could have waited and, you know, maybe waited until he activated Diamond Core and popped the Urnite instead. But I really didn't want him summoning a Sandman. Now look at this card that's set right here. I'm thinking, okay, Canadia, Wall of Disruption, Floodgate, Treacherous. Those are the cards that are in my mind, right? Like, he set one of those. He sets the second card, by the way. There's the Canadia. I'm like, alright, what is the mystery face down? And I don't think I've ever seen this before. He said, this man said an Iron Core of Koakimeru. Now sure, you can say, hey man, it's a bluff, it's whatever. But this does nothing for you on the field, other than a bluff. Like, why would you do such a thing? Anyway, we're gonna get a Canadia. After he Floodgates or Psychic Tracker. We're gonna Econ take that Maximus right away. He activates Diamond Core, so he gets to keep the Maximus. But I have my combo. Going to Hyper Psychic Blaster. There was no point in going into Mistworm because obviously my attack was gonna be higher than his Maximus, and I could just destroy it with Wither. So 4200 to the face. Still had a De-Synchro to BM if I wanted to, but instead we farmed him up a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen that before. And this Yubel match is one where Switcheroo came super clutch. And I actually saved that Switcheroo for the last possible, you know, as my last possible resort. And won the duel in a pretty tilty way for my opponent. So we're gonna go ahead and set our Serene Psychic Witch. We have two trackers, so all we need is a tuner on the board. So it's actually good that he's gonna go into Terror Incarnate right away. The only problem is that face down. So I think I didn't mention, if you use Wither's effect after you synchro summon a monster that activates their effect on summon and destroys something like Yubel, Yubel will be destroying as a chain link too, therefore it misses timing. So that's kind of what I'm going for right here. We're gonna go into Mistworm, and instead of sending that back to the hand, we're gonna go ahead and send the back two cards to the hand and try to destroy this with Wither. Otherwise, I could have gone into Psychic Blaster. If Psychic Blaster had a you know, unsummon effect, destroy the Wither, this would have been 4200 and I would have had game, but I'm forced to go into Mistworm to make that Yubel miss timing. But he had offerings to the Doom, man. Super unlucky. It's definitely gonna put us back a ton. All we have is an Econ and a bad aim, so we're forced to take this 1800. And I pick up a Wither, so I'm like, okay, I can save my Switcheroo for next turn and hopefully Switcheroo into a level 3 monster that I can synchro with. You know, I have my enemy controller to stay alive. He summons a second Joshka. So I'm down to 400 life points. I get a Psychic Witch, so no need to Switcheroo. We're gonna go into our Psychic Nightmare. Destroy one of the Joshkas with the effect, and then destroy the other one by battle. So it's gonna set a card. We're gonna go for the Nightmare, Call Spell, because we know he has Fire King Islands in there as another Offerings to the Doom. And at this point, I thought I had lost pretty much. I pick up a Psychic Tracker, so we're gonna do 1600 damage. He gets a Yubel level 3, so now we're gonna have to deal with Terror Incarnate yet again. And this time I don't actually have a strategy. I have an enemy controller and I have a bad aim, but I can't make it miss timing with bad aim because he would have to activate something else. He would have to activate like Fire King Island right here, or you know, the following turn, and then I would target this. It's just kind of hard. Yubel can deal with bad aim, but it's a little tricky. So we're gonna activate bad aim onto this, but obviously the whole chain is gonna resolve. So his Terror Incarnate gets destroyed as a chain link 1. But I didn't want him to keep using, if you guys noticed earlier, he had a, was this the duel? Where he had a Wurm? I'm pretty sure it was. That's how the duel started. Anyway, I didn't want him to deck me out with a Wurm. So having Ultimate Nightmare was better than having the Terror Incarnate. We're gonna top deck a Canadia, set that. He goes for Fire King Avatar Yashka, and this is my opening play. I mean, this is my opening to win this game. We have a Yashka, I have an enemy controller, and he has a Yubel the Ultimate Nightmare. So I pick up a De-Synchro. We're gonna use the switcheroo that we saved this entire duel. We get a Frankenderp. Econ take the phase 3 attack into the Yashka, and he takes exactly 1800 life points. And I win the game. Really, really clutch Econ, clutch switcheroo, clutch duel overall. And I was sure to send that Yubel person a fat nice right after that win. And this is the last duel going up against Kaiba. Using... what was this? Dragoonity, I think? Yeah, big performance. So right off the bat, I have 2 huge counters for Dragoonity, Bad Aim, and Pelizoid Canadia. He can't even get over my Psychic Witch. So I'm just gonna destroy his little guy. And this is why Bad Aim is such a you know, a huge counter to Ducks. If he activates Phalanx effect to special summon onto the field, I just destroy the Ducks. If he activates the Divine Lance, I can destroy the Ducks. It just too many ways to stop. You know, I could use Canadia to stop the Ducks from equipping the Phalanx, but we're just gonna use Bad Aim and get rid of 3 cards for the price of 1. Pick up a Frankenderp. That was actually a Psychic Witch, and I decided not to add it and just put it at the bottom of the deck. That works out because I top deck into Wither, so I can special summon that. Go into my Mist Worm, shuffle everything back. Turns out he has a Treacherous Trap Hole, but I still have my normal summon, so all I have to do is summon my Psychic Tracker and go for game. Pretty easy. Bad Aim still good, even though I can't use it in Gemini. Pepe hands. Stupid dinos. But yeah, very fun deck. Using De-Synchro and, you know, Mist Worm, Hyper Psychic Blaster, and the main card, Psychic Wheeler. Psychic Wheeler is good in so many decks. X-Sabers, it's just a great card, and I'm glad that I was able to get 3 copies of it because I think it will be good for a really long time. But thank you guys so much for watching. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you want. Join my Discord if you haven't. The link will be down in the description. Along my PayPal link if you guys want to support my channel, support my content. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, and till next time.